Jai Shri Ram. I am going to read out the 12th chapter from this translation of the Bhagavad Gita by Sir Edwin Arnold. So, this man is a sir, he has been knighted. The Queen confers this. Okay, he has done a great job. He has translated the Bhagavad Gita into blank verse like Shakespeare. And it is believed that Gandhi, I believe, came across this translation and he got inspired. Anyway, Sir Edwin Arnold. I don't know why we have to call these chaps Sir. Because the Queen has decided to knight him. Okay, he's a great man, he's done some great work. But as usual, he remained a Christian, a fanatic Christian, who believed that Christ is the Redeemer. I have no problems with that. But I have serious questions against the Bible and Christ himself, because Christ never condemned slavery. And in fact, Jesus Christ gave advice to slaves to be very nice to their masters. So if slavery is all right, I think every other crime is also all right. So had I met Sir Edwin Arnold, I would have given him a piece of my mind. Anyway, that's besides the point now. We are reading the sacred text, the Bhagavad Gita, the song Celestial. So let's go ahead. I mentioned page number 96. I'll read it out for you because you will be curious why I mentioned that number there. So the 10th chapter, 9, 10 and 11 shlokas. Machchitta madgatah prana bodhayanta parasparam kadhayantaschaman nityam tushyanti cha ramanti cha tesham satatayuktanam bhajatam pritipurvakam dadami buddhiyogam tam yenamam upayantite teshame vanukampartha aham ajnanajam tamah nashayami atmabhavasto jnanadipena bhasvata. So here Krishna is saying, Machchitta Madgata Prana, those who are my devotees are ever lost in contemplation, and they discuss me, they praise me, and these are the people whom I also confer my graces on them. Tesham satata yuktanam bhajatam priti purvakam dadami buddhi yogam tam. So Krishna says he confers buddhi yogam on them. Buddhi yogam means being a karma yogi, that means selfless yogi, because then you become Krishna's agent and don't have to face the repercussions of your action, because there is no selfish action at all in the first place. Teshamev anukampartha aham ajnanajam tama nashayami atmabhavasto jnanadipena bhasvata. So Krishna says, by my anukampa. So grace is a very odd looking Christian word. So Krishna says he destroys all the ignorance in the minds of these people. So if you are a student of Bhagavad Gita, that is the best thing to be as a human being. Now let us see how Sir Edwin Arnold has translated it into blank verse. That is, Shakespeare also did the same thing, blank verse. So here it is. So blank verse is also, I think, called iambic pentameter. Pentameter, okay. So 10.9. Machchitta madgata prana. You see, the wise in spirit cleave to me, into my being brought. Cleave means to stick. Cleave means to cling on. Cleave also means to split into two. Cleave is an interesting word with two meanings which are opposites of each other. The wise in spirit cleave to me, into my being brought. Hearts fixed on me, breaths breathed to me, praising me, each to each. So have they happiness and peace, with pious thought and speech. And unto these, thus serving well, thus loving ceaselessly, I give a mind of perfect mood, whereby they draw to me, and all for love of them, within their darkened souls I dwell, and with bright rays of wisdom's lamp, their ignorance dispel. So you see, there is a nice rhyme in the last two lines. But does this match the supreme rasa, the spiritual power and beauty, the sublime rasa of Bhagavad Gita? Not at all. English is no comparison. It cannot match the spiritual grandeur of Sanskrit. Anyway, he has been glorified. This man has been glorified. But let us see. He did some good work, no doubt. Some of the passages are very interesting anyway. Now I will go on to the 12th chapter. I'm going to the 12th chapter because 12th chapter is very close to my heart. In my childhood, my father made me memorize the 12th chapter. It is called Bhakti Yoga, and here Krishna gives you justification for idol worship. First of all, we should not use the word idol worship. Nobody else. It is a deity worship. So, but everywhere you will find in every religion they have their own idols. The word idol can be defined as anything that is held in great respect. For example, their holy books, the Bible and the Quran, they hold it in great respect. The symbols, the cross and the crescent and all that Kaaba, that black small island-like small building around which Muslims mill around. Milling around means going around. We Hindus go in a clockwise manner, they go in an anti-clockwise manner. So they have their own idols, the cross, the statues, but then they would like to criticize Hindus as idol worshippers, right? That I think is totally irrational and uncalled for. Anyway, nobody is worshipping the idol. Yeah? Just as a watch tells you time, the idol reminds you of God. It's as simple as that. Only an idiot will say that the watch is time. We are not saying the watch is time. But anyway, for that matter, in Hinduism, we strongly believe that God is immanent and transcendent. God is within everything and beyond everything simultaneously. Because there cannot be anything beyond God. If there is anything beyond God, logically that would mean that God has a boundary and there are things outside of God. So there can be nothing outside of God, because if you say there is something outside of God, that means God has a limit. So God is infinite and illimitable. Therefore, the Hindu religion, Sanatana Dharma, is logically very sound and spiritually sublime compared to Christianity and Islam, whose dogmas are completely irrational. So therefore, if God is everywhere, won't He be there in the idol also? Jai Shri Ram. So now let's see the 12th chapter, Bhakti Yoga. Arjuna, Lord, of the men who serve thee true in heart as God revealed, and of the men who serve worshipping thee unrevealed, unbodied, far, which take the better way of faith and life? Krishna, whoever serve me as I show myself constantly true in full devotion fixed, those hold I very holy. But who serve worshipping me, the one, the invisible, the unrevealed, unnamed, unthinkable, uttermost, all-pervading, highest, sure, who thus adore me, mastering their sense, of one set mind to all, glad in all good, these blessed souls come to me. Good use of language, but it sounds a little like gibberish to me. Yeah, sometimes it's good, sometimes it's gibberish. Gibberish means nonsense, gobbledygook, right? And they take great pride that it is a great language. Okay, there is some greatness, I don't deny that. Yet hard the travail is for such as bend their minds to reach the unmanifest, that viewless path shall scarce be trod by men bearing the flesh. So here actually is the slokam where Krishna is supporting idol worship. Please read this out. When anybody, there's some people who criticize, where is the support for idol worship in Hinduism? Na pratima asti, no image exists. That is what they all throw at us, because that's a Vedic dictum. So we can just show this. I will read out the Sanskrit shloka now. So you can see the 12th chapter. This is the 5th shloka, 12.5. Kleshodhikatarastesham avyakta saktachetasam avyakta hi gatir dukkham dehavadbhiravapyate. Klesham adhikam. That means there is a greater difficulty for those who worship the formless Brahman. Avyakta hi gatir dukkham dehavadbhiravapyate. Dehi. We are all dehis. The word in Sanskrit means embodied beings. We are basically Atmaswarupas, Satchidananda Vigraha. That means we are not this body. We have this body, we are given this body, in fact we earned this body. So, we are not the body. We are the spirit that indwells this body. Therefore, once you are embodied, your perception is likely to be bound to anything that is embodied. Therefore, Krishna is articulating a very simple idea. Dehis being embodied, we find it very difficult to think of the disembodied or incorporeal or formless. Because thinking of a formless God is so difficult for us. The mind, you see, for example, if I say, don't think of an elephant, immediately you will think of an elephant. The command was, don't think of the elephant. Why? Because elephant is something concrete. When I say democracy, there is no picture in the mind. So, Krishna is actually giving indirect support. Klesha adhikam. Kleshodhikatarastesham avyakta sakta chetasam. So, there is a greater difficulty for those who worship the unmanifested, formless, impersonal Brahman. Which means there is a lesser difficulty. In fact, it is easier to worship an idol because we are embodied, so we embody God. Na pratima asti, let us take that phrase. Now, for example, we all take photographs, but does the photograph fully describe us? No, because we are all three-dimensional beings, by the way. You can take n number of photographs, but that is not the complete picture of yourself. Similarly, na pratima asti means God has kaleidoscopic, infinitely kaleidoscopic facets, just as we also. Right? So, all those cannot be captured in an image. So, let us not waste time wrangling with these rascals who have only one obsession to criticize Hinduism while at the same time keeping their own idols. They want to destroy our idols. Throughout history, that's what they have done. And therefore, is that sufficient? Just because I worship an idol, does it mean that I should be killed? My idol should be broken? I should be either converted or killed? What kind of nonsense is this? That's what is there in their holy books. Both the Bible and Quran have the same thing. So I think it's utterly ridiculous. It's totally irrational. Just because I worship an idol, does that give you sufficient reason to convert me and kill me and destroy my idol? What kind of barbarity is this? So, in fact, they also have their own idols. If we do exactly what they have done, don't you think that will be terrible? We cannot do it because we Hindus are much more spiritually evolved. By the way, there is no spirituality in Christianity and Islam. Spirituality means search for self-knowledge. That exists only in Hinduism. So let's go back to Edwin Arnold. So Edwin Arnold, sir, he said, yet hard the travail is for such as bend their minds to reach the unmanifest. That viewless path shall scarce be trod by man bearing the flesh. But whereso any doeth all his deeds, renouncing self for me, full of me, fixed to serve only the highest night and day, musing on me, him will I swiftly lift forth from life's ocean of distress and death. Whose soul clings fast to me, cling thou to me, clasp me with heart and mind, so shalt thou dwell surely with me on high. But if thy thought droops from such height, if thou beest weak to set body and soul upon me constantly, despair not, give me lower service, seek to reach me, worshipping with steadfast will. Look at those words. Give me lower service. What kind of weird wording is that? We will complete this. And if thou canst not worship steadfastly, work for me, toil in works pleasing to me. For he that laboureth right for love of me shall finally attain. But if in this thy faint heart fails, bring me thy failure. Find refuge in me. Let fruits of labour go, renouncing hope for me. With lowliest heart, so shalt thou come. For though to know is more than diligence, yet worship better is than knowing, and renouncing better still. Near to renunciation, very near dwelleth eternal peace. Okay, that sounds all right. But is this really great poetry? Who hateth not? What is this hateth? Old English, biblical language. Who hateth not of all which lives, living himself benign, compassionate, from arrogance exempt from love of self, unchangeable by good or ill, patient, contented, firm in faith, mastering himself, true to his word, seeking me heart and soul, vowed unto me. This sounds nice. That man I love, who troubleth not his kind, and is not troubled by them. Yasman no dvijate loko, lokan no dvijate cha yaha. Harshamarcha bhayodvegair mukto yas च मे priyaha. Clear of wrath, living too high for gladness, fear or fear, that man I love. This translation is poor. Living too high for gladness, grief. Well, idiomatically he is saying that he is above all this. Okay. That man I love, who dwelling quiet-eyed, stainless, serene, well-balanced, unperplexed, working with me, yet from all works detached. That man I love, who fixed in faith on me, dotes upon none, scorns none, rejoices not and grieves not, letting good or evil hap, light when it will, and when it will depart. That man I love, who unto friend and foe, keeping an equal heart with equal mind, bears shame and glory with an equal peace, takes heat and cold, pleasure and pain, abides quit of desires, hears praise or calumny in passionless restraint, unmoved by each, linked by no ties to earth, steadfast in me. That man I love, but most of all I love those happy ones to whom this life to live in single fervid faith and love unseeing, drinking the blessed Amrit of my being. Here endeth chapter 12 of the Bhagavad Gita, entitled Bhakti Yoga, or the book of religion of faith. Now I will read the entire 12th chapter so that you will get to know the supreme spiritual grandeur of Sanskrit compared with English, which is a congenitally defective language. अथ द्वादशोऽध्यायः अर्जुन उवाच एवं सततयुक्ता ये भक्तास्त्वां पर्युपासते ये चाप्यक्षरमव्यक्तं तेषां के योगवित्तमाः. श्री भगवान उवाच मय्यावेश्य मनो ये मां नित्ययुक्ता उपासते श्रद्धया परयोपेता ते मे युक्ततमामताः. ये त्वक्षरमनिर्देश्यम् अव्यक्तं पर्युपासते सर्वत्र गमचिन्त्य कूटस्थमचलं ध्रुवं सर्वत्रगम अचिन्त्यञ्च कूटस्थम अचलं ध्रुवं सन्नियम येन्द्रियग्रामं सर्वत्र समबुद्धया ते प्राप्नुवन्ति मामेव सर्वभूतहिते रता. क्लेशोऽधिकतरस्तेषाम् अव्यक्ता सक्तचेतसाम् अव्यक्ता हि गतिर्दुःखं देहवद्भिरवाप्यते. ये तु सर्वाणि कर्माणि मयि सन्न्यस्य मत्परः अनन्येनैव योगेन मां ध्यायन्त उपासते तेषामहं समुद्धर्ता मृत्युसंसारसागरात् भवामि न चिरात् पार्थ मय्यावेशितचेतसां. मय्येव मन आधत्स्व मयि बुद्धिं निवेशय निवसिष्यसि मय्येव अत ऊर्ध्वं न संशयः. अथ चित्तं समाधातुं न शक्नोषि मयि स्थिरम् अभ्यासयोगेन ततो मामिच्छाप्तुं धनञ्जय. अभ्यासेऽप्यसमर्थोऽसि मत्कर्म परमो भव मदर्थमपि कर्माणि कुर्वं सिद्धिमवाप्स्यसि. अथैतदप्यशक्तोऽसि कर्तुं मध्योगमाश्रितः सर्वकर्मफलत्यागं ततः कुरु यतात्मवान्. श्रेयो हि ज्ञानमभ्यासात् ज्ञानात् ध्यानं विशिष्यते ध्यानात् कर्मफलत्यागात् शान्तिरनन्तरम्. अद्वेष्टा सर्वभूतानां मैत्रः करुण एव च निर्ममो निरहंकारः समदुःख सुखक्षमी. संतुष्ट सततं योगी यदात्मा दृढ़निश्चयः मय्यर्पितमनो बुद्धिर्यो मद्भक्तः स मे प्रियः. यस्मान्नो द्विजते लोको लोकान्नो द्विजते च यः हर्षामर्ष भयोद्वेगैर्मुक्तो यस्य च मे प्रियः. अनपेक्षः शुचिर्दक्षः उदासीनो गतव्यदः सर्वारंभ परित्यागी यो मद्भक्तः स मे प्रियः. यो न हृष्यति न द्वेष्टि न शोचति न कांक्षति शुभाशुभ परित्यागी भक्तिमान् यस्य मे प्रियः. समशत्रौ च मित्रे च तथा मानापमानयोः शीतोष्ण सुखदुःखेषु समस्संग विवर्जितः तुल्यनिन्दा स्तुतिर्मौनी संतुष्टो येन केनचित् अनिकेतः स्थिरमतिर्भक्तिमान् मे प्रियो नरः. ये तु धर्म्यामृतमिदं यथोक्तं परिपासते श्रद्धदाना मत्परमा भक्तास्तेतीव मे प्रियाः. इति ओम तत्सत् श्रीमद्भगवद्गीतासु उपनिषत्सु ब्रह्मविद्यायां योगशास्त्रे श्रीकृष्णार्जुन संवादे भक्तियोगो नाम द्वादशोऽध्यायः. See how beautiful is the Sanskrit rendition. Listen to Bhakti Yoga regularly. Jai Shri Ram.